Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Badass Unscripted. This week I want to talk about doing scary things and taking risks, but before we get into it, let me ask you a question. Have you signed up for the mailing list yet? What mailing list? The mailing list. The Badass Agile mailing list. This is the mailing list where you get twice weekly updates from the book I've been working on for over a year now, adding page by page, day by day, called Field Notes for the Agile Leader, and it's almost done. The idea is it's so important to surround yourself with inspiration that a couple of times a week you can start your day off right. Just get those little nuggets of wisdom, and sometimes they're all you need to point you in the right direction, to really turn your day around. In addition to those, every Monday I release a new video. Just something to focus on, keep your mind trained on for the week. You got to sign up for these things, guys. Go to badassagile.com. Scroll down and look in the bottom right corner till you find the spot where you can sign up for that newsletter. Don't forget to tell your friends. Well, guys, it's so great to have you here. Things are rocking and rolling with the podcast. Thank you so much for that. People are really showing up in a big way. I got to say, New York State, you're catching up with Texas, man. You know who's really falling behind? Canada. Listen, guys, you're my people. Are you really going to let the United States show you up on the subject of being badass? I didn't think so. Let's get in there, Canada. I don't care if you got to listen to the same episode 2-3 times. Cheat. Find a way or make a way. Let's get your numbers up. All right. While we're on the subject of badass, let me ask you a question. Who's responsible for ensuring you become badass? Nobody. Just you. If you don't get this stuff, there's no one on this earth who has a sense of responsibility and accountability to make you better. So here's what I've learned. If you want to do simple, precise things that completely change your game as a leader and really empower your experience and your ability to influence as someone on the front lines of Agile, here's what you got to do. You got to do more scary things, and you got to take more risks. You need to learn how to thrive in the face of fear, because it's in moments of courage where the really important work gets done. The difficult conversations, the scary moves, the tough decisions. All of them are nestled in fear, and if you haven't flexed the muscle of acting in the face of fear, you are never going to get to be a powerful leader. So, here's something you should be doing all the time. First thing, you should know what you fear. Right? Like for me, I have this really weird, uncanny, creepy, unexplainable feeling that if I do things in public, especially just be myself and express joy when other people are around, that they're going to judge me. So I've always been a really kind of quiet, reserved guy in public. And I used to fool myself into thinking that I did that because I was doing the world a favor by not imposing or, not being embarrassing. But the reality is, I don't do those things because I'm afraid of being judged. So, I got to work on that. The only way to fix that, and we've spoken so much about fear in this podcast, is to inoculate yourself against the fear by immersing yourself in it. Start by dipping a toe in, then up to the ankle, then up to the knees, and so on. But the point is, do it. So once you've figured out and written down what it is you fear, and there's probably multiple things, go and do it. Pick 1, 3, 5 things this week that you can do. If you fear difficult conversations or being judged, go have those difficult conversations. If you fear not being good enough, put yourself in positions where you think you're being judged or evaluated, and just do them anyway. Stare your counterpart straight in the eye. Don't look down. Don't tremble. Don't sweat. Give yourself a reasonable number of tests in a week, 1 to 3, and expect to fail. Expect that no matter how much you tell yourself not to, you might tremble, you might sweat, you might chicken out, but do it anyway and write down how it went. You want to go one further? Get yourself an accountability partner. Someone who will ask you, did you keep your promises? And if not, why not? And how did it go? Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like a stand-up? You bet it does. So listen, if it's going to work for your Agile teams, for your company, why wouldn't it work for your own personal development? Think about that. Now, what about taking risks? You might think that doing things in the face of fear is a form of taking risks. I'm talking about different risks. I'm talking about experiments. I want you to try 3 to 5 things this week. Invent a process. Solve a problem that nobody asked you to solve. Start a book club at work. Make some videos and post them somewhere. Go and book a client or land some business, or, if we're speaking specifically from an Agile standpoint, go find a team and agilize them, even if you're not sure you can handle it. These are all things that force you to up your game. Because one of two things will happen. Either you'll do it and you'll be successful, which is wonderful, or you'll do it and you'll fail. If you're successful, you will have just proved to yourself that sometimes the risks are worth taking. The outcomes justify the means. But in occasions where you fail, you learn something else really important. Number one, the world won't end. And because the world won't end, you'll feel more empowered to take similar risks in the future. And that's really, really important. But also you'll learn. You'll create and foster a habit of being unafraid of taking the risk. Right now, you probably talk yourself out of all the reasons why you shouldn't make and post your own videos, start your own training program, start a book club, sign up a new team for coaching. The minute you bust and learn to stop thinking from a perspective of excuses and why things won't work, the game completely changes. And most importantly, not only do you become a proficient and effective risk taker, and therefore a better innovator, but you will inspire others to do the same. Not through talking, but through acting. So who out there is willing to take the leap? Who will take 5 risks this week? Who will stare their fears in the face and do 1 to 3 things that force you to be courageous and exercise the courage muscle, and then send them into the team so we can all see them? Shoot me a note, contact@badassagile.com, and let me know what happens. Guys, thank you for being true believers. As always, you can find me on Instagram @badassagile, on Twitter @badass_agile, and on the great big World Wide Web at worldwideweb.badassagile.com. We'll see you next time.